Jasper stood in his backyard, the golden rays of the setting sun casting long shadows across the grass. Suddenly, a thunderous flapping filled the air, pulling his attention upward. A massive condor, wings outstretched like sails, descended from the sky, landing with a thud that shook the ground beneath him. Or mingled with dread as he gazed at the magnificent creature, but an unsettling feeling crept into his chest. In that instant, Jasper knew he had to act. His instincts screamed at him to call for help, to understand the meaning behind this harbinger of chaos. The Condor stood there, a chilling symbol of destruction, yet also a potential key to uncovering the truth behind a mystery that was only just beginning to unravel. "Is it hurt?" he murmured, more to himself than to the bird, his voice barely carrying over the sound of its heavy breathing. The condor, with its dark feathers ruffled by the cool breeze, seemed to stare right through him, as if weighing his intentions. Jasper took a cautious step forward, his mind racing with questions. Suddenly, a voice broke through the stillness. She asked, "What on earth is going on?" It was Marlene, the elderly woman from 2 doors down, her brow furrowed with concern. Marlene squinted, her eyes widening as she caught sight of the blood-stained talons. "Oh dear, what happened?" she gasped, covering her mouth with her hand. "That's not just any bird, it's a sign, Jasper. A sign of something terrible." "Call 911, she urged, her voice rising with urgency. "This isn't just a pet emergency. You don't know what that bird has been through. It could be dangerous." "I need an ambulance and animal control," he said into the phone, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling within him. "There's a condor in my yard, and it might be injured. It looks like it's been in a fight. There's blood." In the distance, he noticed a few neighbors gathering, their faces a mix of curiosity and concern. "What's going on, Jasper?" asked Tom, a local mechanic, stepping forward with his arms crossed. "That bird looks like it just came from a horror movie." Before he could finish, the condor let out a guttural cry, echoing off the walls of the surrounding homes. It was a sound laced with anguish, a primal call that resonated deep within him. Jasper felt his breath hitch. What if it's looking for something? He wondered aloud, his mind racing with possibilities. As the minutes dragged on, the tension in the air thickened. The condor shifted again, its massive wings fluttering slightly, and Jasper noticed a flicker of movement in the trees behind him. Was it watching something? His heart ached with a weight of uncertainty. Jasper turned, meeting the gaze of a small girl with wide, innocent eyes. "What do you mean?" he asked, kneeling to her level. At that moment, Jasper felt a surge of determination. He exclaimed, rising to his feet. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. With the sirens in the distance growing louder, Jasper knew they were running out of time. "We have to find out what it's trying to show us," he said, rallying the neighbors with newfound resolve. "Let's follow it." As the group of neighbors stood in a tense circle around the Condor, Jasper felt the weight of their collective gaze. They were waiting, anticipating the next move from the magnificent yet ominous creature. The air was thick with tension, a mix of anxiety and curiosity, as they prepared to follow the Condor into the unknown. "Look," Mullen exclaimed, pointing toward a cluster of trees at the edge of the yard. "It's moving." Jasper turned to the others, his voice steady despite the flutter of fear in his chest. "We need to stay close. If it knows something, we have to trust it." As they entered the trees, the Condor led the way, its wings brushing against the branches as it navigated through the underbrush. The path was narrow and winding, and Jasper felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. The hope of finding survivors surged within him, battling against the fear of what they might uncover. "Is this where the plane went down?" Tom murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. But just as they began to process the gravity of the situation, a new sound cut through the air, a low, rumbling growl. The group froze, eyes wide and shocked. From the shadows, a massive figure emerged, its fur matted and eyes wild with fear. It was a mountain lion, drawn by the commotion, its gaze fixed on the Condor. But the Condor did something unexpected. Instead of fleeing, it spread its wings wide, a fierce display of defiance. It let out a deafening cry that echoed through the trees, a sound that seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. Jasper's heart raced as he watched the standoff unfold. In that moment, he realized the Condor was not just a passive observer, it was a fierce guardian, a symbol of strength in the face of danger. The mountain lion, momentarily taken aback by the Condor's display, hesitated, its muscles taut with uncertainty. Just then, a frantic rustling erupted from the underbrush. The group turned to see a figure stumbling through the trees, covered in dirt and scratches, a look of sheer terror etched on their face. It was a young man, disheveled and wide-eyed, his clothes torn and stained. The revelation hit Jasper like a ton of bricks. They weren't just chasing a sign, they were in the midst of a rescue mission. The Condor had led them to a survivor. Help is on the way, Jasper called to the young man, who was now trembling on the ground. Be safe with us. The young man looked up, his eyes glistening with tears of fear and relief. I don't know. The plane went down in the storm. I saw a few people get out, but I lost track of them in the chaos. As they organized themselves, Jasper's mind raced. This was no longer just about one Condor or one survivor. It was about the lives still hanging in the balance. Every second counted. Jasper felt the weight of the moment settle on him. This was a turning point, a chance to confront their fears and prejudices. They were all connected to this story, bound by the threads of survival and resilience. With the revelation of the survivors' presence, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Jasper felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, as if the very essence of the moment demanded action. The Condor, its wings still spread wide, seemed to pulse with an energy that invigorated him. It was a protector, a guardian of secrets yet to be uncovered. "Ethan," he gasped, his voice shaky but determined. "I thought I was alone. I saw others get out too, but I got separated." Ethan nodded, his brow furrowing in concentration. I think they went towards the river. I remember hearing them calling for help before the storm hit." As the plan took shape, Jasper felt a surge of confidence, bolstered by the presence of the Condor, who perched nearby, watching over them like an ancient sentinel. He knew they were in uncharted territory, not just physically but emotionally, as they faced the shadows of despair together. Just as they approached the riverbank, the scene before them took his breath away. Debris from the crash littered the area, fragments of the plane scattered like fallen leaves. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something metallic, that sent a chill through his spine. They rushed to the edge of the river, the water swirling around their feet. Jasper's heart raced as he caught sight of a woman, her hair plastered to her face, struggling to pull herself from the icy grip of the current. She was clinging to a piece of wreckage, desperation etched onto her features. "Grab my hand," he shouted, extending his arm as far as he could. The woman's eyes widened with fear, but she nodded, summoning the strength to reach for him. The others rushed in, forming a human chain to help pull them both to safety. As they reached the shore, the woman collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. Jasper knelt beside her, relief flooding through him as he caught sight of her face. "Chlorine," she replied between ragged breaths. I thought I was going to drown." As they regrouped, Clara's eyes darted around. There were others. I saw them before the crash. We need to find them. The group, now filled with a sense of urgency, began to fan out along the riverbank. Jasper led the way, heart pounding with each step. The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced ominously around them. "Stay alert," Jasper commanded, scanning the area. The Condor took to the sky, soaring high above, as if searching for something from its aerial vantage point. Jasper felt a primal instinct rise within him. It's a warning. "Over here," Jasper shouted, racing toward the sound. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins as he pushed through the underbrush. "Not anymore," Jasper replied, relief washing over him. "You're safe now." "Where's the mountain lion?" Marlene asked, her voice trembling. The group looked around, unease settling over them like a blanket. "What is it trying to say?" Tom asked, glancing up at the majestic bird. In that moment, they all felt it a shift in the air, a tension that prickled at the edges of their senses. "We need to move," Jasper urged, his voice steady. "Whatever is out there, we need to put distance between us and it." The Condor took flight once more, circling above them as they raced through the dimming light. With every step, Jasper felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. They were not just running from danger, they were fighting against the darkness that threatened to consume them. With resolve hardening within him, Jasper vowed to protect those around him. They would not succumb to despair. They would find their way through the shadows and emerge into the light. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, united in their quest for survival and hope. As Jasper and the group moved quickly through the trees, the sun dipped lower, painting the sky with shades of orange and crimson. The urgency of their mission drove them forward, but Uncertainty loomed in the air, thick as the shadows that enveloped them. The Condor flew overhead, a silent guardian navigating the twilight, guiding them toward their next destination. "Stay together," he shouted, pushing through the underbrush, the others close behind. As they merged into a small clearing, they found a young woman crumpled on the ground, clutching her ankle, tears streaming down her face. "Don't worry, we're here," Jasper said, kneeling beside her. "What happened?" "In the work?" Jasper asked, scanning her surroundings. The sense of urgency surged within him. "Okay, we'll carry you," he said, looking to the others for support. They formed a circle around her, ready to help. But as they prepared to lift her, something shifted in the underbrush behind them. "Idiot," Jasper demanded, instinctively positioning himself protectively in front of the injured woman. "What do you mean, one of them?" Marlene asked, confusion etched on her face. "Attacked," Jasper echoed, disbelief washing over him. "By ugh." A wave of unease rippled through the group. They had been so focused on rescuing the survivors that they hadn't considered the dangers lurking in the shadows. "We need to get her to safety," Jasper insisted, his voice steady. "We can't leave anyone behind. We'll figure this out together." Jasper felt the tension rise, uncertainty clouding their mission. The idea of danger lurking in the dark was terrifying. "We're not leaving anyone behind," he repeated, his voice firm. "What are you talking about?" Tom asked, his brows knitted in confusion. Jasper felt a chill creep down his spine. Could it be true? Were they dealing with more than just a natural disaster? "I didn't think anyone would believe me," the woman exclaimed, her voice rising. "I thought I was imagining it." "We need to regroup," Jasper finally said, his mind racing. "We can't let fear dictate our actions. We have 2 injured people now, and we need to find a safe place to stay." With a decision made, they carefully lifted the injured woman, supporting her as they moved. Jasper felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. They were not just rescuers, they were now survivors in their own right, fighting against the unknown. "We need to stay alert," he warned, glancing back at the group. "Whatever is out there may not be finished with us yet." Now what? Marlene asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they gathered close together. Just then, the Condor landed at the entrance of the cave, its piercing gaze fixed on Jasper. It let out a series of low cries, as if trying to communicate something vital. Jasper felt an inexplicable connection to the bird, as if it were trying to tell them something crucial. "I think it's trying to warn us," he said slowly. "Maybe it knows more than we do." The air crackled with tension as they huddled together, shadows dancing ominously on the cave walls. Jasper felt a flicker of hope, a belief that they could face whatever lay ahead, united in their quest for survival, guided by the strength of the Condor and the bonds they had forged in the chaos. As the night deepened, the cave grew colder, the stillness punctuated only by the distant sounds of the forest. Jasper felt a weight in the air, a tension that pressed against his chest. They had found survivors, yet uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud overhead. What had they truly stumbled into? Jasper placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll keep watch. The Condor is here, and it will guide us," he said, though he couldn't shake the fear that gripped him. As the hours passed, the group took turns keeping watch, the weight of their fears hanging heavily in the air. Jasper felt himself slipping into a restless sleep, but visions of the crash haunted him. He saw the wreckage, the people trapped inside, and the mountain lions prowling, their eyes glowing in the dark. "Stay down," Jasper whispered fiercely, heart pounding. Jasper's mind raced. "If we stay quiet, maybe it will pass us by," he said, trying to keep the fear from his voice. But the mountain lion paused, sniffing the air, as if it sensed their presence. Ethan, the young man they had rescued, spoke up. "Maybe we can use something to draw it away." The Condor seemed to understand what was happening. "It's a guardian." Jasper felt a flicker of hope. "Let's trust it," he said. "We can use its instincts." The Condor circled back, landing just outside the cave. It let out a series of sharp, commanding cries, a sound that echoed through the valley. The mountain lion paused, its gaze shifting from the group to the magnificent bird. With a surge of instinct, the Condor took off. flying higher, calling out with urgency. The mountain lion hesitated, torn between the potential prey inside the cave and the threat above. As the mountain lion turned to follow the condor, the group seized the opportunity. They scrambled out of the cave, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The condor soared high, leading the mountain lion away, the tension of the moment palpable in the air. As they moved deeper into the forest, the condor circled back, landing beside them, its eyes filled with an intelligence that made Jasper feel a sense of reassurance. It was as if the bird understood that they had survived the first test, but more challenges awaited them. Jasper paused, taking a deep breath. We need to find higher ground. If we can get a vantage point, we might spot other survivors or a way to signal for help. Marlene exclaimed, pointing toward the wreckage. There are rescue teams down there. Ethan rummaged through his backpack, pulling out a flare gun. I found this near the river. It should still work. As they prepared, the condor landed nearby, its presence a steadying force. Jasper felt a surge of gratitude for the creature that had guided them through the uncertainty. Ethan fired the flare into the night sky. The bright red light exploded above them, illuminating the darkness. They watched in awe as the flare arched high, a beacon of hope against the vast expanse of stars. But the moment was short-lived. A low growl echoed from the trees below, and the group turned to see shadows moving in the underbrush. Stay together, Jasper commanded, positioning himself in front of the group. We can't let them surround us. As the mountain lions approached, the group moved back, forming a defensive line. We can't let fear take over, Jasper said, his voice strong. Remember what we've survived together. Moving, Jasper urged, leading the way. The sound of rescue teams grew closer, and the mountain lions, sensing the impending danger, retreated back into the shadows. Over Hinda, Jasper called, waving his arms. The rescue team rushed toward them, expressions of shock and relief on their faces. We found survivors, Jasper explained, pointing back toward the forest. And there's still more out there. In the days that followed, the community rallied together to support the survivors, sharing their stories of resilience and courage. The condor, once a symbol of fear, became a testament to survival, a reminder that even in the depths of tragedy, hope could rise. As the condor soared through the sky, Jasper understood that nature had a way of weaving itself into their lives, teaching them about strength, unity, and the delicate balance between chaos and harmony. The Condor remained a guardian not just to the forest, but of their spirits, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, they would always rise together.